This is KLEAN Radio, and it starts right now.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. That's a wonderful sound. Hi, I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to KLEAN Radio. Andrew Spanswick is still on a boat somewhere on his way back. He was in Tahiti, we can now reveal. And once again, my good friend and addiction specialist, Dr. Jason Giles. Hello, Doc. How are you?
And a very good evening to you, Pat. Nice to see you.
There's a Dr. J joke there. There's a J Giles joke there, even though it's Giles. But you're tired of those, right?
I've never heard that before.
I'm sure you haven't. You heard it last week, actually. Welcome back. We got a great guest, and I'll get that in a minute. The show number is 800-222-5222. 800-222-5222. Pretend you're calling a New York taxi. Usually those numbers are simple to remember. It's 800-222-5222. We're at KLEANradio.com. We're also on Facebook, pretty active there, facebook.com/KLEANradio. And you can share your tips with staying sober through the holidays, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. And you can post your questions. Always a danger area. Ask Pat O'Brien anything. Buy my book. I wrote a 400-page book. You don't have to ask me anything.
Most of the answers are in there.
They're all in there. And at Twitter, by the way, at KLEAN Radio. Well, here we are 4 days before Christmas, and man, that came around fast. And we thought we'd talk tonight about staying, it's simple, the topic, staying sober through the holidays. I mean, this is the biggest trigger, I think, of any of the holidays. New Year's Eve, obviously, but I think the Christmas holidays that begin right after Thanksgiving just kind of move us forward. An example is that Dr. Jason's wife, Rebecca, made us some cookies tonight. Now, I'm almost 7 years sober, but I'm addicted to cookies. So how many did I have right away?
Yeah, no, that's they're treacherous. They're really good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're good. And it's an example of the holiday spirit. Everything comes in big bunches.
It's true. And also there's that sort of, time of the year, suspended rules. The rules don't apply. This is things are a little bit different. I'm glad we're talking about this. The holidays are deceptively treacherous. It doesn't seem like they'd be dangerous for an alcoholic or an addict or a person who's got trouble with control issues, but they are. There's a lot of, last week we were talking about it, this sort of idea that I should be feeling better or I should be having a good time. Alcoholics and drug addicts are notorious for what I call shooting on themselves. And I don't think we have to delay that one.
I think you said it correctly.
I think that one will get through. Basically, if it can sneak right up on you. You don't realize that the mood and the time and the sort of sense of obligation.
Memories.
Yeah. Those memories and reminders of days gone by. I mean, I joked last week that it's not the holidays unless there's some sort of family drama. But most of us have expectations that aren't met, or didn't get the present that you wanted, or couldn't put presents under the tree that you wanted to. And so there's a mixed nest of good and bad feelings. And we know a shortcut to change the way we feel. We know how to pole vault right over those and immediately erase, or at least we try to erase the bad feelings. Right.
The phones are already lighting up, so thank you. We're going to tell you how to get help at one of our KLEAN centers later. And that's the whole point of this, is to get help and be in recovery. Our guest tonight is a woman who she and I shared. Well, I paused too long there, didn't I? We shared a rehab together, actually. We were both at Los Encinas here, and both had Dr. Drew begin our journey in sobriety. Jennifer Gimenez. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Let's do some credentials, first of all. Video with Tupac. How was that?
Oh, my gosh. Amazing. He was so incredible. I actually spent like a week with him. And
yeah, the cool guy he was.
So cool. I remember one time, though, he did say to me, I was wasted by the end of that night of shooting, and surprisingly, and that was a long time ago. And he said to me, you're really screwed up right now, but one day you're going to get your stuff together. He said it a little differently. He's like, but you're an amazing woman. You're gonna shine in your own light one day. And I gets me teary-eyed, because he saw things. He was very, very deep. I loved him. And
he did something with Babyface, one of my dear friends, and Mick Jagger, a friend too. So I mean, we're kind of connected here.
Yeah, we are. And
any more names I can drop?
Jason? We did share a room together, though.
Yeah, we did at Los Encinas.
Yeah. I mean,
don't have
it
to-
kind of sounds awkward, but
Yeah.
This is a family show, guys, so be careful here.
That was a long time ago.
yes, a long.
And congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank
and now,
you, and you
now
too.
you're part of soberbook.com. What's that?
It's a website and a magazine, a monthly magazine. It's You're the Writer. We're just the magazine, the website. It's about any adversity or obstacle you've overcome and how you've gotten through it or not gotten through it.
That's good.
I believe that we all have a story to tell. It's up to us how to tell it. And I want to know how you did it, because then we pay it forward.
It's funny because Jason and I were talking before
That's
the
great.
show about who we want to hear stories from.
Yeah.
And we want to hear stories from people who've been through it.
Yeah.
I mean, people are come up because there's no names, no faces, and we remove institutions or any bad, like any names.
Mm-hmm.
So like people come out about being incest survivors that they've never shared before in their lives. Like it's keeping the secrets and it's about releasing the secrets instead of keeping them.
That's
And
fantastic.
it's
that's great.
been a really incredible journey, and I've had a lot of people write their stories and different stories, like how I lost a job, how I can't get a job, how I'm the loved one of an alcoholic or an addict, or I'm really in the disease, I don't know if I can ever get it, and it's great to see and hear the voices.
That's fantastic.
I'm a big fan of Jennifer Gimenez is here. I'm a big fan of hers too, but I'm a big fan of writing. By the way, you're also on the Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Yes, this season, yeah.
How does it end?
It ends dramatic. It ends dramatic. It starts dramatic. It ends dramatic.
Cliffhanger.
I'm so sad the affair ends tonight. I love that.
I know. I have it TiVoed. I don't think that's a cool word to use anymore.
I'm
DVR'd.
TiVo, what the hell?
I'm still
used to-
grieving over the end of Serial. The Serial
They
closed
made
this
a
week.
joke about that on SNL last
All right,
night.
let's get to it. So, Housewives of Beverly Hills. You won't reveal the ending, and you're a grateful member of our little club here.
Yes.
She was talking about hearing people's stories, and I think that's one of the things that we can do here is, and you can call us at the number's so easy. I can't. 800-222-5222. Why is it important, Doctor, to hear other people's stories? I mean, we hear them all the time in recovery meetings, various around town.
Yeah,
But
I mean, this is the season where we gather around and tell stories. That's the stories are how we got here. Jennifer, I think I just let me salute you. I think that's terrific what you're doing, because
that's cool, isn't it?
Thank
it's
you.
very cool. It's very cool, and why it's cool is, in doing this work, what I've learned is that the stories don't vary that much. They're remarkably consistent.
There's
We can laugh because we've been
exactly.
And
I mean,
that's the thing. Yeah, on the front side of it, you think that I'm the only one. This has never happened to anybody. I can't carry the shame. No, if I tell, I mean, I felt that if I told my secrets, that I would disintegrate, or no one could relate to me.
I'm going to take a call right away because this is a good call to take right now from George up in Oregon. And it is Oregon, right? Not Oregon. George, you're on with Pat and Jason and Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, George.
Hey, George.
Yeah, the one thing I've noticed that you don't end up with, to me, being an alcoholic. Can you take 3 drinks?
Can you
Get
take
up
how many
tomorrow.
drinks?
3?
Well, it depends. I mean, I'll
Well-
let Jason answer this, but I mean, an alcoholic is somebody who starts drinking and can't stop.
Well, that's what I mean. Can you get up? and
You're
walk
looking for a
away without
definition. George, if I
There
understand
is.
you correctly, you're trying to say, if I can drink 3 and stop, does that make me an alcoholic?
If you can drink 3 and not have set off a craving,
Oh.
Okay, then why,
our
why
hats
3?
off.
How about 2?
Our hats off. George, you're right on one of the so far unanswerable questions. We don't know, and I always have to caution this because it depends on what size those drinks are. A pal of mine used to have a glass of wine, and then eventually that glass could hold a whole bottle.
I used to search for the bigger glasses.
So we have to caveat that a drink, standard size alcohol.
George,
is that what you're talking
do you
about.
think you have a problem?
oh, I know I have a problem.
Right.
First time I got drunk, I was 13 years old. I drank a 6-pack of, at the time, was Country Club. It was a malt beer,
Sure.
and there was that craving for more.
Right.
Well, I actually.
So in my definition of an alcoholic, the first time I got drunk, I was 13 years old. I was a full-blown alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
George, thanks for your call. And you spelled it out there. Looking for a definition is not a good idea.
You're probably in trouble already if you're negotiating the definition.
It's about why you're drinking, like behind the drinking. I mean, it could be you can be an alcoholic with other
I don't
things,
even like
right?
that word, by the way. But
I
go ahead.
don't like the word either. I think it's even, here's the bad news, unfortunately, George, is that people who don't have problems with drinking aren't trying to control their drinking.
Exactly.
If you're trying to manage it or broker a deal and cut yourself off and stick to your limits, and it's taking an outsized role in your life. And what I would suggest is that you give it a shot of not giving it a shot. Give it a shot of not drinking and see and just compare. Just do a little research on your own life.
I get asked that all the time, and I think you're right. I think all of us can agree that it depends on why you're drinking and if you're using it as a medication to get over a breakup or any financial problems or a bad boss or crazy girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. I think if it's become medicine, isn't that a good?
Yeah. Sometimes, but remember.
I need a drink now.
I need a drink now. There's probably not much debate about that, but the drink is changing the way you think and feel. So what's available to you as you're drinking, of what your reasons are, she broke my heart, or I lost my job, or I got a job. We don't need much of a reason usually.
You're listening to Clean Radio. I'm Pat O'Brien. Dr. Jason Giles is here, and Jennifer Gimenez. And I love the soberbook.com thing. And you can go online and find that out. But we're talking about getting sober, staying sober through the holidays. And has it been difficult for you since you've been sober?
I go through ebbs and flows, I feel like. It's been a really, really tough second part of the year this year for me. And I just finished saying earlier before the show started, like, I'm surprised I haven't blown my brains out or taken a drink. I mean, it's by the grace of God. And obviously I have tools today, and in the beginning, it was so hard to stay sober. And I'm grateful that I had a big, huge support team, and I still do now. And I've just learned a lot of things. Like, I learned to tell myself.
Here's the kind of person that we want to help. Nate, you're in Roseville. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Nate.
What's on your mind tonight?
I have a daughter that's been a heroin addict for about 4 years, and she's been married about 6 months to a methamphetamine addict.
Ooh.
And he gets probably about $1 million a year for being one of those casino Indians. And the problem I have with it is that.
Wait, what's that job?
Chief Double Down.
Oh, I got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, he doesn't have a job.
Where have I been?
But yeah.
Don't mean to laugh. Go ahead.
That's fine.
I thought, what a great job. I don't get that. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I wish I could find out.
So you have a heroin addict daughter.
A daughter, yeah. But the hard thing is he's been to rehab like 5 or 7 times, something like that. And she's never even mentioned going to rehab or showed a desire to, and we go to Nar-Anon classes, but the problem I have is their world is so crazy compared to my world. It's when I get near them or around them, I get so exhausted within 5 minutes, and then seeing them the way they are, that I want to accept them, not their drugs, but I want them to be part of the family, but it's impossible the way they are.
Hi, Nate. This is Dr. Giles here. I know Roseville well. I trained up there at UC Davis, so I know your neighborhood. And that's a tough spot. How old is your little girl?
She's 24.
24, and yeah, so you're ahead of her on the understanding curve. That's all. She'll come around to see. And it sounds like her husband, if he's been to treatment half a dozen times or so, it sounds like he's wrestling with this also. There's part of him that knows there's another way. There's part of him that's trying to get better. And this problem, we were just talking before the show started about what this problem is. It's hard to get your arms around. It's hard to pin down and say, aha, now that you know, and it's all better. And you just heard Jennifer say that, this has been a rough year, and I've been hanging on. So right. I feel that way too sometimes.
No, Nate, I'm gonna let you go, but we feel
one other thing. The weird thing is that how money or even children or anything else doesn't really make a difference to people that are addicted to drugs.
No, not at all. I mean, and it's amazing. And the number, by the way, is 888-601-6040. And we have people there now answering phones. So if you need to talk more, we appreciate your honesty.
All right,
we love
thanks,
you.
Nate. Thank you so much.
Happy holidays. So what about that, Jennifer? I mean, you know, we talk about how this disease, and that's what it is. It's not a moral problem. Affects everybody. And you were part of a tornado. Can I say that about you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I really was. And, you know, now I'm on the other side. Like, I'm around a lot of people, loved ones, you know, friends, different people in my life. I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying a couple, you know, a few of them. They're active in their disease. And I get exhausted like Nate does, too. And it's like, you know, I'm powerless over that. And so I can only give so much and then remove myself. And I mean, give so much like love, you know, and put myself in. They know that
It's infuriating, though, isn't it?
It is. And you're like, I just want to, like, if I could force it on them, but you can't.
And Glenn, hold on, from down there in Dallas. By the way, the Cowboys whooped up on somebody
Oh, my God,
today.
my favorite team, the Colts. Oh, my God.
They whooped up on the Colts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say they're going to the Super Bowl, but we'll let Glenn. And Glenn's got a good question here. But, you know, nobody said to me, Pat O'Brien, you got a problem. I'm serious. Nobody. I mean, either I was so much fun to be around, or it didn't really get real bad for me until the end. And I know that it makes you wince, doctor, but it didn't really kick in as where I thought I had a problem.
Yeah, I mean, what you're
end.
dealing
Did you have
with.
a lot of yes and? I'm sorry,
No,
cut
go
you
ahead.
off.
Go
Did
ahead,
you have a
Jennifer.
lot of yes and friends around you though too? Because I know I
Including
did.
people I work with. Everywhere I showed up, they had a case of Silver Oak waiting for me in my suite somewhere. Glenn from Dallas, Texas.
Sorry.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Thank you, Pat. It's nice to talk to you. Yeah, watching the Cowboys today,
Oh.
I think that's the first Sunday. I've only been sober 5 days.
Oh my gosh,
Congratulations.
amazing.
Watched football today without drinking.
Well, stop right there. That's huge.
That's a big deal by itself. I mean, we talk about the holidays, getting through the holidays. How about getting through Sunday and getting through the Super Bowl? You know, there's these routines that we're in. Sometimes watching the game is just about the drinking.
So there's it is. Well, there's one, Rick. What's your question?
No, it's hard to explain. I work at home. I have very limited family, and I have like a really hard time leaving the house. And I'm thinking about going to see a psychologist and talking about antidepressant medication. And I was going to see if y'all had ever done that, and if you had, what medications to stay away from. And
Well, let's answer that in a general way. Yes, I have.
I have, and
let's let Dr. Giles,
non-narcotics
who's
works.
First of all, Glenn,
expert.
congratulations. You're starting to get some awareness of the problem. Alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol causes depression. So it's no wonder that you've been feeling blue lately. And it also helps tolerate the pain of isolation. You know, a friend of mine once said that he was having trouble at home and he lived alone. And it sounds like that might be what's going on there. Is that you know, it's just a tightening spiral of feeling lousy, and the walls are closing in, and I think that you're on the right track by getting out and talking to somebody. I can't advise you whether or not an antidepressant matters. I will tell you that having stopped drinking just 5 days ago, you're going to be on an emotional ride here. It's going to be all sorts
Through
of
the holidays.
Yeah, physical changes, and you're
Really
still going to be
sober.
detoxing for a while, and your brain's going to be coming back, and so you're a moving target for the short run. I think the plan to get help is an excellent one. The specifics of that, I'll leave that to working out with the folks near you.
Well, let's give Glenn and everybody else some ideas about these slippery places. And Glenn, thank you. Keep listening. The number is 888-601-6040. Call us later. Congratulations on the boys today, and Merry
sobriety.
Christmas. And stick with it.
thank you.
You bet. There he is, Glenn, and that's a big deal. But you know, you got 5 days, you got no days, you got 50 days, you got 500 days, you got
50 years.
50 years.
Yeah, world record's 24 hours, right?
Exactly. That's what I always say. So you can go to meetings. You should have a support group. Who wants to start? I mean, there's a bunch
I think
of
that
stuff.
is so. I was going to say that, like, you know, that it's so important to have a support group and have, like, especially if you're home by yourself, like, go to the 12-step meetings, go, you know, to like other types of meetings if you can, or like
Don't isolate.
do not isolate. That's the scariest place when you're by yourself. Like when I start thinking and I'm alone a lot and I start secluding myself to the world, it's a dangerous place.
Well, as your head talks to you. And by the way, you know who puts those voices in your head? You do.
Yeah.
Your head's a dangerous neighborhood. Don't go there alone.
It really is.
But, we're going to get to this in the second half hour. But I think you said something earlier, Jason, about removing expectations. At the holidays, we think about, Terry Bradshaw and I have a song we made up, which is, if the whiskey don't kill me, her memories will. One of those deals. But
memories will.
All right, slow down. You have expectations of the holidays, and you remember the good old days with your family, and maybe mom or dad's not around anymore.
Yeah, we're grieving the loss, and we're drinking for emotional reasons. It's not intellectual. It's not algebra here or calculus problem. We're drinking to change the way we feel, and I like what you said about don't isolate. I think that's really important because. If you've got to run your plan by somebody else and they're supporting you to keep a clean life and to live well, chances are you're not going to be able to get that by. Hey, I was thinking about just having 3 drinks.
Yeah.
It's your friends who are helping you to stay sober are probably going to remind you why you're here.
And by the way, we're just not here on these soapboxes. We're not talking to a person who's on his or her way to a party now. I'm going to have a couple drinks and can drink. There are millions and millions of people. God love them, who can drink all night if they want to and still be okay. We're talking about alcoholics, people who have a very specific brain disease and use a drink to get over something.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a couple things I want to get over now, but I'm not going to drink over it.
Yeah.
I'll call Jason at home. We talk all the time on the phone.
Absolutely, and vice versa. And it's if you sort of have to know which group you're in. Last week we were talking about which group you're in. If you know that booze and drugs and other things take an outsized role in your life, then you know that doing them, I think of it like scratching poison oak. It's going to feel good for the moment, but it's going to make more trouble.
Yeah.
I love your metaphors. What the hell's wrong with you? Is there poison oak in California? I guess there is
poison oak in
hills.
California.
I was like, I got bit by a spider last night, and I was like itching it. It's all bruised.
Is there anything that doesn't happen to you, girl?
Everything happens to me.
I mean, come on.
I know, but it's all good stuff now. I'm done with the bad.
But I mean, you've been through all breakups and everything. Do you have, or I know you do, have a support system? I mean, like, I think it was Glenn, or who was it? Who said
Nate?
Nate, Nate or Glenn, or one of them. I'm sorry. Because when they drop, the names go away. And, of course, being a recovering alcoholic, I don't remember everything. Short-term memory goes away. But, I mean, people who are sitting home alone, there's always somebody you can call, right? Even
Absolutely.
if you don't have a register. I mean, I have numbers, but, I mean, there's always somebody you can call.
Yeah, there is. And, I got to tell you, sometimes what I learned about staying sober for me is that I got to stand in my truth. I really do. And I got to tell on myself. And so if it's late at night or something and I can't sleep and everyone else is sleeping and I'm texting and calling people, I'll tweet it. I'll be like, have you ever felt blah, 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 and I get to release what I'm thinking and go, oh my God, that was so crazy of me to even think that or to express that. Or I even say I'm going through a lot of pain right now. I'm in a really vulnerable place. I mean, I tell people that because I was taught to tell on myself because this is about life or death, end of story, and it's important to me to want to continue to live.
Well, these days you can just send an email, copy Sony on it, and everybody will know about it, right?
I know.
I mean,
what
really
an
not that
invasion.
funny.
Our life is so
true.
changing. The world is
It's awful.
It's horrible.
Privacy's
I've
gone
had it
out.
happen to me, and it's not a lot of fun. But the bottom line is, now what I do, and I was talking to Monique about this, our publicist earlier, is that when I write an email now, I pretend I put to the New York Times in the copy part. But I'm still a bad boy sometimes. We'll be back in a minute with our social media director, Buddy Totten, and much more on the holidays. Stick with us.
Are you addicted to drugs or alcohol, but unable to commit to an inpatient rehab stay? Introducing KLEAN Treatment Center's Outpatient Treatment. This drug and alcohol treatment program is designed specifically for the working professional. Don't let your commitments of running a business, taking care of a child, or maintaining your college classes get in the way of your recovery from addiction. With daytime, evening, or individualized programs, KLEAN's Outpatient Treatment will fit your life. Call now for a free screening. Professional guidance is standing by.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for joining the KLEAN Radio channel. Be sure to subscribe and get weekly episodes and clips. And comment, like or dislike, whatever. Be nice. We respond to everything. Welcome back. If you think you're missing the football game, you're really not. It's 6-3 Seattle. Not much of a game right now, so you can listen to us for another half an hour, maybe turn it back on. But it's a defensive struggle, I guess, is what we would call that.
Push against
in baseball.
shove.
I'm Pat O'Brien. Dr. Jason Giles, my dear friend, is here. Another friend, Jennifer Gimenez, is with us, and we have a big staff here. By the way, Patrick Kennedy does all our video and audio, and he's kind of the, what should we call him, the spine? Well, I don't know about that. But Randy DeWitt is also the spine. Mm-hmm. And he just blew me a kiss, so there goes in. Monique is our publicist, Monique Moss. Steve on the board. Always looking like, Steve always looks warm and friendly, and he's got a mustache. Yanira takes our calls. We love her. Buddy Totten's here, the chairman of our social media center. Buddy, what's going on out there?
How's it going? So in our segment, we have Ask Pat, and Heather would like to know what was the first thing you recognized about your behavior that told you you were making progress in your recovery? What were your personal signs of progress?
The first thing I what?
Your personal signs of progress. What were the first signs that let you know you were making progress in your recovery?
I stopped crying.
Right.
That's one. And
recycle bins weren't as full.
Yeah,
too.
I stopped because when you get sober, you start feeling your feelings, and so I had so much shame or remorse.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had all of that going on, but my first sense was, I went to 4 rehabs, so it took a while. But what made me realize that I was gonna die is that I almost did die. So
right.
What do you mean, right? Go ahead.
Right as I can relate.
He read it in the book.
All right, and so Catherine is asking, what can my son do about insomnia when detoxing that doesn't involve getting addicted to pain pills, or sleeping pills, rather?
I saw that gesture over there.
Yeah.
This is
Insomnia is a tough one.
Dr. Giles here in the Ask Pat segment. So insomnia, it turns out there's a good article recently about early recovery and insomnia. It's just par for the course. That's just how it goes. And this is again where expectations play a big role. As you stop crying, the police aren't after you, and then immediately we want an 8-hour great night's sleep. It's
well, also, I wouldn't lie in bed and think about it because you'll just make things up, right? I mean,
yeah. There's a couple of things you can do just as a practical matter to try and answer the question more directly, which is there's 2 parts to sleep. There's being mentally tired and there's being physically tired. And if you can sync those 2 up, you stand a better chance of going to sleep. So physical exercise turns out to be really important, and that can be as simple as walking, getting out of the house, making yourself
fresh air.
Anything, fresh air,
and
make
also,
yourself tired.
Learn how to meditate. You don't have to do it for hours or half an hour. Breathe in and breathe out, even once or twice. I used to, when I was in rehab, I was so jacked up on my nerves that I learned to breathe in 1, hold it for the count of 4, breathe it out, and that sort of thing, and that helped. One more from you, buddy.
All right, and then so we posted what are some issues that women face getting and staying sober, and Angie says the stigma associated with addiction combined with the added stigma of being a woman in recovery, mother, wives, and daughters are judged more harshly for becoming addicted.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also, I feel like more men stay sober than women, and I think it's because, this is just my opinion as being a woman, and is that we're so emotional, and so we overthink everything and emotionalize everything. Am I correct in that? I mean,
well, I'm not stepping into that. I'm not going to take it. I'm not taking that bait right there.
This is what you do.
Do you
and
want
for
names?
Us, well, I mean, for us as women, like there is a lot of responsibilities, and like do I have kids? Do I have too many kids? Or I'm not married? I'm married, and all this pressure.
Right.
Plus, like your hormones are always taking over, and you're also an emotional roller coaster. It's really hard for me to see. I mean, I see, like I said, more men staying sober than I do women. And so when I see the women in recovery, I get very excited, you know, and we're all like, women are different. We're different DNAs than you guys.
Yeah, there's a prevalence difference also. So there are more women, more men sober than women because there are more men with drug and alcohol problems than women.
Buddy, thank you. You left the pin in the grenade for another week, and we'll see you next week. Let's go to some calls. We're getting some great calls here. Let's go to Doreen up in my part of the world, Duluth, Minnesota. Hello, Doreen. How are you?
Hi, Doreen.
How about you?
We're good.
Excellent.
Go ahead. Did you have a comment?
Yes, I do have a comment. I'm a mother of an alcoholic son. I've been practicing alcoholism for about 12 years. In the meantime, he got a girl pregnant. We've got a beautiful, almost 5-year-old grandchild.
It's a blessing.
Yes, it's lovely. I love it. And being with my son, being an alcoholic, he doesn't have a lot of interest in his child. Drinking becomes more important than the child. And this grandchild spends a lot of time with us and wants to know a lot of times where Daddy is. And my daddy doesn't show up, and, you know, how come he misses his dad? And we've been telling him for quite some time that Daddy's sick. Well, he's not buying that Daddy's sick anymore. So we're wondering what else we can tell him about his father is why he's absent.
Yeah, I mean, real quickly, what does Daddy say to him? Anything?
Daddy doesn't have a lot to do with him. He wants to see him during the holidays, and that's about it.
So he's checked out. All right, Doreen, we'll get to you. Is it cold up there in Duluth?
It's not bad. It's actually beautiful. It's about 32 above.
Okay, that's cold.
No, that's
not for Duluth.
I'm from South Dakota. That's nice up there.
That's tropical.
Doreen, we'll answer your question right now. Thanks for calling. Merry Christmas. So what do you do about that?
Yeah,
I mean, the
that's
dad's
tough.
checked out.
Yeah, that's tough right there. Yeah, that's really tough. And you know, it doesn't. This really cuts right to the heart of what this is, of what alcoholism is. It's a discounting of things that we usually value, and we chase other things that are dangerous and self-destructive. Doreen, that's a really tough spot. And fortunately, he has his grandparents, and fortunately, there's stability
somewhere.
And well, she's there with him, right?
Yeah.
It's her. She's looking after. It sounds like she's looking after the young child or the young boy. It's you know, it's the same advice I would give to the caller earlier about having his daughter, and she doesn't quite understand. Just having you around will provide continuity and stability, and then eventually, you know, I hope that your son sees the light.
And I think what most kids want, and we're going to talk to Heather in a minute, but I think what most kids want is for their parents or mother or father just to not lie to them anymore, right? I mean, just be as open as you can without breaking their hearts.
Yeah, no.
You'll break their heart anyway.
Well, absolutely. And I think it's important to, like, nourish him with love, like you said, but also, like, activities and, like, keeping him in a happy place, as happy as you can. I mean, it's heartbreaking hearing that, and there's countless thousands upon thousands of stories like that. It's heartbreaking.
We're talking about trying to stay sober, or tips to stay sober during the holiday season. Heather is on the line now, and she claims that the holidays helped, gave her hope in her recovery, right?
Well, what it did is it made progress in recovery because it helped me overcome the denial I had.
How so? What happened, Heather?
Well, I had gotten sober, and I went home, but I didn't tell my family that I was sober. And I was in the living room, and I wasn't looking at my family's faces. I was just looking at the drink in their hand. And whenever they're walking back and forth, I'm just looking at the glass.
Right.
You know, and, the next day I open up the refrigerator, and there's this alcoholic cider. And I swear that it was glowing.
Yeah, sure.
And I was like,
and whispering.
It'll be fine.
Right.
Nothing bad will happen. You know, and I said, okay. But before I physically reached for the drink, I had this other voice that I called the voice of the old-timer come in and say, you know what, you're absolutely right. Nobody's going to know that you drank, but the thing is that you're going to know. And when you try to go to get your chip or your year, it's going to be BS. You're going to know that it's BS. So shut the refrigerator door and walk away.
Right, and the ambulance, thank you, Heather, the ambulance driver is going to know, too, because it never gets better. When you relapse, it gets worse.
Yeah, there is no keeping a secret because, Heather, if you'd had that drink, one of two things would have happened. Either nothing, or you would have drank the whole bottle and passed out in the kitchen. If that happens, everyone's going to know right away. If nothing happens, well, guess what? You're going to have another drink.
Yeah, or the guilt and the remorse is going to kill you.
This is the time of year where I find that a lot of people, I'm Pat O'Brien, by the way, Jason Giles is here, and Jennifer Gimenez, we're on KLEAN Radio. I find that a lot of people end up in rehab, end up getting sober or trying to get sober this time of year. They make that their milestone date.
That's right.
And, if you can't get to a recovery center, finding a good intensive outpatient treatment center is great because you don't have to really interrupt your life so much. Rehab is, it's work. It's actually 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
How long were you in there, Jennifer?
Well, I went for 5 days and I stayed a total of 9.5 months.
Okay.
I did have a relapse in between. So about the second time I was there about 3.5, almost 4 months.
Yeah.
Greatest thing that ever happened to me. I call it the OG style of treatment because that's how it used to be, but now it's, in and out.
Yeah, and finding it out after the show, you can call 888-601-6040. We talked about that, but there are many ways to get sober. You don't have to spend a lot of time in a rehab.
Yeah, it's what we do know, what the data show is that the longer you're engaged, the better. Now, longer doesn't necessarily mean under the roof and living in a rehab residential setting. It just means staying engaged with your counselors and with your therapists and with your aftercare and with the other people that you're going through. And it's about staying connected.
So let's go down the list. What should people do to try to stay? Well, first of all, if you're not an alcoholic or you're not in recovery or you don't have a problem or brain disease like I do, just first of all, don't drive and drink and run over me. My life's too good right now.
Yeah.
Or any family of 4. But, we're talking about support systems and find maybe different ways to celebrate over the holidays if you think you have a problem.
There's a lot of different things you can do. I know the pressures of like going to these parties, a work party or this party, and what society today says you have to buy all this stuff, and then you like buy too much, and you're like, how am I going to eat next month? I got to drink to like hide my emotions, or just the pressures of family. God bless our families, we love them all, but there's so many dynamics that are in one room, and
Sure.
and you just take baby steps. For the first 5 years, didn't go anywhere without somebody who wasn't in the program. Sober Companion. I just had a support team, and if I was in a like Hollywood party, they'd walk me out after a while. So I wasn't there too long. So now, if I'm in a vulnerable place, I don't do that. I won't go in for too long.
Right. You got to check.
Well, you don't have to suffer.
You don't have to
suffer.
Fun with it. You can laugh and not take everything.
Right. That's the guidelines I like to give people is that you have to have a legitimate reason for being there. So if you're there just to reminisce about the good old days or to pout about not being able to drink or to prove something to your family, look how tough I am, you're probably in trouble. If you're there because it's a work party and you work at the company and you're supposed to go, or if it's a family get-together and you figured out a way to do it safely, go. But what Jennifer says is right. Have some accountability on the way out. Have a plan. Have your own way home. That turns out to be really important, just logistically, that you're not trapped.
And you can have fun. Dr. Giles, Jason and I have coffee, I think, every Saturday morning, and we laugh more during that. We have early coffee and have a lot of fun. We look forward to it. We talk about things and books and their families, and we catch up. And you don't have to, obviously we're not drinking, you don't have to drink to have fun.
No.
Drive by any Starbucks at night and watch people out there having a good time.
Yeah. And honestly, everyone's like, if I get
promote
sober.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
Actually, I did.
If I got sober, my life's going to be boring. I'm going to be bored. Like, honestly, I've had more fun in this almost 9 years of my recovery than I've had my whole life. I laugh a lot, like what you're talking about. Like, I always say, like, I got sober to live a full life. And with the good comes bad at times. But, like, overall, it's more good than it is anything else.
You can still have fun. You can laugh. You can still have sex, by the way. Not going to ask you personally about that. But.
Yeah, no,
you can still do things. People think that after recovery, or
you just caught me off guard on that one.
Like
I know
zombie,
what that.
Yeah, it's a fear of the unknown. You don't realize how
you
great
get to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, how great it is on the backside, and also what you leave behind. You leave behind not knowing what you did last night, or having to make apologies, or the headaches and the trouble and the danger. It's a lot better.
Let's talk about the big one. And that's resentments. I think resentments, as we learn in recovery, are probably the biggest killers of alcoholics. And you have to fight your resentments, and you have to write them down, be grateful for other things. But this is the time of year that resentments come back and stare you in the face, Uncle Bill, or whatever, whoever it is.
Yeah, they do. And, it's the resentments are like they'll make you they'll just eat you alive, and being able to forgive was a really hard process for me at first, and actually seeing my part in stuff and seeing like how important it is that that I don't do the same pattern or repeat the same cycle. And I do an inventory about I'd say once a year. Yeah, I have to. I mean, it builds up, and like it's over the weirdest things, like things that wouldn't make sense to anyone else. But I'm constantly, I'm digging, I'm cleaning house. I have to.
And by inventory, I had about an hour of spare time today, and I actually did what we call a 4-step, but I actually did a little inventory on my life, the way it is going into the holidays. And when I got done with it, I felt great. I mean, just writing it down and saying, I'm doing this wrong, I'm doing this right. I'm an idiot, I'm not an idiot, and that sort of thing. But
yeah, we get wrapped up in the moment and think that our point of view is the only one that's important, and and there really aren't any other people in the world that matter. That's what leads to the resentment.
And there's a lot of fear behind that. The fear is like the craziest thing that, like, I can't believe that stopped me from so many things or got me bitter over other things. The fear of, and like it's fictional.
All the resentments grow from a belief that we know better. Right, that guy shouldn't have parked his car that way, or she shouldn't have done that.
She did me wrong.
She done me wrong. And when I look back at those things that I thought were the hills to die on, it turns out that as Jennifer said, I had a huge role in it. I always had something to do with, I always stepped on someone's toes, and that's why they were retaliating. And when you subtract that part out, and you subtract my role in it and my fear of what's going to happen if I don't get what I want. Well, there's really not much left there.
There's a great John Lennon painting, which I own, by the way, and the caption is, he finally saw the molehill, and the molehill is about an inch high. And that's what we were talking about here. By the way, we never go away. We're on KLEANradio.com. We're on Facebook. Well, we do, but I mean, you can find us, Facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. And after the show, we have people on the phone, 888-601-6040. They work over the holidays, right? They're there. Okay. And Twitter is at KLEANradio.com. You go at KL, and it pretty much should come up. I don't think any. Is Roger Clemens? No, he's just C. So it's at KLEANradio.
The Rocket.
.com. So Jennifer, do you still have friends who are? That's a personal question, but you don't have to answer. But do you still have friends who are struggling, and you're trying to help them? And
I do. Yeah. I do have friends that are still struggling, and at times they want the help, and then when they do, I'm there for them, and they know. I don't try to push it down anyone's throat and shove it into their face that they need help. We'll have the conversation, and then I think that attraction rather than promotion works best.
That's and that brings up a good point, because do you bring it up, Dr. Giles? I mean, if you and I are friends as we are, and I was still drinking a lot, well, we probably wouldn't be friends because we wouldn't have met. But I mean, what would you say? I mean, what do you say? I mean, it's always hard for me to say, I think you got a problem, man. But that's...
Yeah, I think Jennifer's right. I mean, it sells itself. If you one of the most uncomfortable comments I got in the early days were, "God, you look great." Yeah. And the subtext, of course, being that I didn't used to. And
well, wait a minute, Jennifer said that to me 3 times tonight.
No, but you do. You look amazing.
Thank you. Just wanted you to hear it again.
Fishing. So it's.
No, here's the other one. How are you?
Yeah.
How are you?
How are you?
How are things going?
How are you?
Yeah, that's I really hate that.
Quick way to drive somebody away, because they know. I mean, they know. This whole story about denial, and as if the person didn't know. Of course they know. The guy who's trying to quit drinking, he knows he's trying to quit drinking. And I'll take it one further. He or she knows you know. So, treat him like a human being.
Exactly.
Recognize that everyone struggles at one time or another with different things. And I know that when I was in that state, no one could tell me anything, and I wouldn't try. Just be yourself.
Yeah. What do you do about parents? I mean, we get a lot of calls tonight, a few, and there's still some up here, but I want to, it's hard to talk to your parents anyway, I think, for a lot of people. Yep. But when they're drunks, what do you do?
When your parents are active alcoholics,
if you're at a certain age where you can even, I don't know, is that a bad
thing? Do you have to be, I mean, there's two sides. I mean, if you're underage, you get other family members to help you. You get removed from those places if it's a dangerous place. If you're over 18,
it's a lonely place because you're trapped, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. If you're 18 and you've suffered, 18 and older, and you've suffered from it as a child, you go to therapy, you get a support team.
I think you learn about
forgive.
it. Yeah, you do what you're doing right now, which is listening to this show and learning about what the actual problem is. The problem is not that your mom or dad doesn't love you or resents you or any of the rest of the things that you've heard. It's that they're not well. You know, they're not well.
I remember my son's school early on, it was like kindergarten or first grade, they had the LAPD over, and they were asking, you know, the traffic and look left, look right. And one of the kids said, not my son, one of the kids said, my mom and dad drink every night and they go out driving. And the cop said, where do you live?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
What kind of car do they drive?
But the kid didn't know. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just such a tough situation for a lot of people.
It really
is.
is.
Saying it lightly.
It really is. I think after, you know, when you get to a certain age, you know, my dad was an active addict. He was an addict. And, you know, now it's learning to deal with why I had those abandonment issues, and it had nothing to do with me, you know, or them splitting up, my parents splitting up, had nothing to do with me, but I took it upon myself for so long, and, you know, and learning to forgive, really in therapy. Thank God for therapy, and a sponsor for me. I needed it, and I need, you know, women in my life so I can like tell myself, you know, and go through these things and realize I'm not the only one.
Yeah, you check it out and you realize, you know, we all had similar experiences.
We promised this, and let's check these off. The typical tips, and you guys can jump in. Attend meetings, we talked about that. Get a phone list, a backup system. HALT. You want to talk about HALT?
Yeah, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. This gets into the emotional piece of this. So if you're feeling frustrated or hungry, I mean, that's the H of HALT. My favorite new word is hangry. Hangry. That's from Pess, the animator. If you're feeling frustrated, then you know we drink to change the way we feel. So angry, lonely, tired, all that stuff.
Can I say something? But I was taught that with HALT, if you're hungry, eat. If you're angry, clean something. You know, clean out a closet, do something like that. Active. If you're lonely, call somebody, and if you're tired,
take
sleep.
a nap.
Yeah,
yep.
that was
Grab
it.
the teddy bear. That's right.
It was so, and I was like, I always kept doing that over and over again. I cleaned a lot for a long time.
Yeah.
Another one is to start your own new tradition in sobriety. You know, either go to a park or go to a art gallery or go to get some buddies together and go to, I mean, these are things that people do, and you can have fun doing it.
Yeah, one simple tip that also helps just to sort of a thin layer of armor when you're at one of these functions where you have to be there is to go get your own drink from the bar, not an alcoholic drink. You know, get your Diet Coke or get your sparkling water or cranberry juice or whatever it is so that you have something.
Rockstar.
Because, there's a mood at parties, which is, hey, I see you're not drinking anything. Here, I brought you a drink.
Yeah, grab this. You know, and also be careful, you know, pick who you go out with. I wouldn't go out with your meth dealer, you know, or whatever, but... You just got to be smart, and I'm here to tell you, there's nobody who loved drinking and doing drugs more than I did. Nobody. Read my book. I mean, I loved it. However, I'm coming up on 7 years of a sobriety, and I've been in the program for 10. But you know, I'm as happy as I can be, and I'm the one who was always picking up the check and buying the expensive wine and getting other people in trouble. I mean, but I mean,
I'm thinking, where were you when I was
stories,
using?
But you know what I'm saying?
And drinking? No, I do know.
But you know, you can still have a great life.
But you can't see until you can see.
Exactly.
You know? When you hear it in advance, like, listen, there's this amazing life, and it's going to be wonderful. It sounds like, for everyone but me.
Or you can drink juice. We have a good sponsor here, Pure Simple Juice, the maker of cold-pressed juices, seed milks, and herbal elixirs using local organic. I'm reading this because I had a whole bunch of these up in Portland. I want to make sure I get every word right. Organic ingredients, bottled, reusable glass. They use these concoctions that feature fresh vegetables, and they are highlighted by healing herbs. I fell in love with their cranberry, ginger, and beet one. And I guess I'm supposed to drink one. I had like 6. Restorative juice. They cleanse. They cleanse through your system. There's a website called PureSimpleJuice.com. PureSimpleJuice.com. And individual juices are available. They got a kitchen Wednesdays and Sundays, just south of Clay in Portland. There's no taxis or Uber up there, but you'll figure it out. 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., 1620 Southeast 3rd Avenue, just south of Clay in Portland. You can find out more about them at PureSimpleJuice.com. We love this company here at KLEAN Radio, and these juices are very good. And I found, too, that you can find an alternative drink. What is yours?
When I go out?
Well, I hope you don't drink at home.
No, when I go out, I always drink Red Bull because I feel like it keeps me amped with everyone else once they start drinking and stuff. Red Bull, Diet Coke, extra lemon.
Diet Coke.
I drink too many Cokes a day, and I stick with Coca-Cola. But I always like to have a soda and cranberry juice or something. But water's fine, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, water's good, but I mean, all-time favorite is Rock Stars, but sugar-free one. But Red Bulls, I mean, it keeps me in the game.
Well, I cough here. Wrap it up here for us. Your top tips, Doctor.
Yeah. So this is Dr. Giles, and thanks for joining us this evening on KLEAN Radio. And remember, you don't have to drink during the holidays. You don't have to. It's an option, but you can choose not to do it. And my experience, and from seeing lots and lots of people make that choice, it winds up making a better holiday. You can begin new memories. You can start a new tradition. You can start a new life, and you can do that right now.
And Jennifer, your tip?
My tip is know that you matter and that you're here for a reason, and that you can get through anything. If people like us can get through it, anyone can get through this. And that, there's definitely a lot of love out there for you to get and receive and to also give.
The song says, through the years we'll all be together if the fates allow. Don't leave it up to fate. Get some help. You can call 888-601-6040, 888-601-6040. There are people standing by. They're KLEAN centers. Don't let the fates decide for you. Get yourself a head start. Merry Christmas to all. We'll see you next week.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Are you addicted to drugs or alcohol, but unable to commit to an inpatient rehab stay? Introducing KLEAN Treatment Center's Outpatient Treatment. This drug and alcohol treatment program is designed specifically for the working professional. Don't let your commitments of running a business, taking care of a child, or maintaining your college classes get in the way of your recovery from addiction. With daytime, evening, or individualized programs, KLEAN's Outpatient Treatment will fit your life. Call now for a free screening. Professional guidance is standing by.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for joining the KLEAN Radio channel. Be sure to subscribe and get weekly episodes and clips. And comment, like or dislike, whatever. Be nice. We respond to everything.